RBS-based Research Academy welcomes you in the lecture number 38 on the necessary condition analysis NCA in SmartPLS-4. This video is completely a theoretical video. In this video, we are going to understand about the concept of the necessary condition analysis along with the different sub-concepts which are involved in this whole lecture, like the bottleneck, like the CE-FDH and CR-FDH, and some other concepts are there which are very important to understand the necessary condition analysis. Before starting the video formally, my name is Dr. Rahim Bak Somro, and I'm working as a professor at the Shabda University, Pakistan. This certificate, which was awarded to me from the PLS-SEM Academy after completing my online course, where I understood all these modules over there. So here we are looking at the which IDV, independent variable, is important. So in order to understand the different tools are here. First one is a beta, which we get in the multiple regression. If you remember, standardized beta and unstandardized beta. And then there's a IPMA, importance performance map analysis. And the third one is a ANN, artificial neural network. And along with these three options, we have another option very important, that is about the NCA, which rightly we are understanding. So the concept of this one, you are looking here, IDV, independent variable, independent, and this one is an independent also dependent variable. So we want to check the impact of all these one on this dependent variable, which one has the more effect on this one. So this is basically the objective of necessary condition, that the which has the more impact on the, which means the IDV has the more impact on the DV. So now, according to the Hare, Richer, and Sardest and Ringel, they said that the social science scholar would be remiss if they did not apply statistical methods of disposable, to explore and better understand the phenomena they are researching. So definitely, researcher, when they are conducting research, they are working on certain phenomena. So in order to understand that phenomena, they have the several tools are there. Then we can say the soft tools are there. So now they suggest the social science researcher they should apply all those tools. Like here, NCA is among them. So it is better to apply all these tools in order to understand the phenomena quite clearly. And then NCA was basically developed by the Dull in the 2016, and where he tried to identify the necessary condition in the data set. So necessary condition like X is needed for the Y. If you want to have a Y, then you are required to fulfill the X. And then X requires Y requires X. So now here the one is a necessity, means that the for specific outcome to be possible, any outcome which you want to make it possible, the first thing is that you should meet the certain necessities are there. Accordingly, the necessity condition being a constraint, bottleneck, or critical factor. Let me say anything which you consider as a necessity. So that's very important. Without fulfilling the necessity, you cannot achieve your objective, like the outcome. And then any variable must satisfy necessary condition, okay, whenever you want to achieve the outcome. Necessary condition is a must-have condition, like is a bottleneck. So if without the fulfillment of that necessity, you cannot achieve your outcome. On the other hand, sufficiency is in the concept, means that the outcome can occur even if the key conditions are met. If you are meeting certain key conditions, then the outcome will occur. So now the two things we have understood, the necessity and the sufficiency, are important in order to have a certain outcome. And then here is an example, like the ingredients are sufficient to make a healthy and tasty food. Now, but to ignite the switch on the oven is necessary condition. So it's a general example is there though. Now what is our outcome? Our outcome is that we want to have a healthy and tasty food. Now what is sufficient thing? Sufficient is that the ingredients which you are required to input in this one. The necessary thing, okay, all the ingredients are there, but if you forget to switch on the oven, so now that means necessary condition has not been fulfilled or met. So now, because sufficient things are there, but if the necessity is not fulfilled, then you will not be able to get your outcome. Outcome is your healthy and tasty food. Without necessary cause, the outcome will not exist. Again, it's clear. A sufficient cause ensure that the outcome exists. It produces the outcome. Now, example. a student who wants to be admitted in the US graduate school, the outcome. Now, what do you want to achieve? The admission in the US graduate school. So now, how to get now is the so now the necessary thing is what the GRE score. GRE so it's very important. Now it's necessary thing if there is no any GRE score minimum like that GR, so you would not be able to get admission. That means the GRE score is a necessity, and the outcome is your like the admission is your outcome. So outcome is depending on your necessity. If the necessity will be fulfilled, the outcome will also be achieved. Now, the NC is a data analytical tool that has been developed to complement. So, there is a data analytical tools is there, which is objective is to complete the results. Now, the traditional techniques are like the multiple regressions are there, statistical equation modeling are there. So now the NCA is not a competing with these the two one, but it is completing their results. NCA is an approach and tool identify necessary condition in the data set. Which one is necessary condition? So that is a job of the NCA to identify it. A necessary condition is a critical factor of the outcome, and if the condition is not in the place, outcome will not occur. NCA can help the researcher in the two ways. The first one is the ceiling lines. It will develop the ceiling line in the bottleneck table. In the after certain slide, I will show you the ceiling line in the bottleneck that help to visualize interpret relationship and between the predicted outcome. So through these ones, let me through ceiling line and through bottleneck table, we can be able to find out and interpret the relationship between the predictor and like the independent variable and our outcome, like the relationship between the X and Y. Second, it calculates the parameters, okay, like the effect size and significant testing. So through this one, you can also find out that either like the relationship is significant or not. So these two things are being provided to you by the necessary condition analysis. Some examples are here. So a student will not be admitted to a PhD program when the GMAT score is too low. So now our outcome is admission in the PhD program, and the necessary thing is your GMAT score. If the GMAT score is not, then the Y will not be achieved. So X is a GMAT score and the Y is your admission. And creativity will not exist without intelligence. So the intelligence is your X and the creativity is Y. So now if the X will be met and then the creativity will also be there, means the outcome will be there. Audience and change will not occur without the management commitment, okay? X and Y relationship. Sociability is necessary but not sufficient condition for the self-performance. So now again, as I gave you example about the healthy and tasty food, the same example this one. Sociability is necessary. It means if you want to have a high performance sales performance, then you should be social, but it's not necessary. Along with the sociability, some other that means the things are also required to you. So now these are sufficiency. Having a program manager is necessary for maintenance of the physical activity information. So now these conditions like the intelligence, GMAT, management commitment, and the program manager. So these are the bottlenecks. So if you will not achieve these one, then you will not be able to achieve your outcome. Necessary causes are not automatically sufficient, but like example again, GRE score is not sufficient admission because also other admission requirement play a role. So now this is necessary, but not the sufficient. So sufficient things are those like the student's motivation letter from his or her professor, good TOEFL score, reputation of student's bachelor program, recommendation letter, and some other things may be there. So now here the three things are there: outcome, GRE, admission in the in the admission in the program. Necessity is what the GRE score, and the sufficient things are all these one. So now NCA uses the Cartesian coordinate system in that to plot the value of the product X and the product Y. So now here you're looking, the X is a condition and the Y is our outcome. So the ceiling line is then drawn between the zone containing observation and zone not containing any observation. So looking at this ceiling line. So now horizontal, vertical, horizontal, vertical, horizontal. So this is our ceiling line. We call it the CE-FDH. Okay, so here the observations are there, and here in this section there is no observation. So this is a ceiling line. So now there are the two defined lines are there. The first one is the sealing envelopment free disposable hull line. So now this is the sealing envelopment free disposable hull line. This is our hull line. Okay. And another line is a sealing regulation free disposable hull CR line, which is a simple linear regression line through the CE-FDH line. Okay, so now two lines are there, CE-FDH and CR-FDH. So here envelopment and here regression. This is the only difference. So for the further, you can also refer this paper. So here you're looking, the lines, three lines are there. This one is our OLS, ordinary least square regression line, and this is our FEDH envelopment line. So now horizontal, vertical. Now these are the most extreme points are there. So now those have been connected with each other through the CE-FDH line. And you are looking here, this is a red line. This is the CR-FDH. This is a regression line is there. So this is our Y, this is our X. So here this is a bottleneck. So CE-FDH. So here is the CE-FDH. So now if you want to have the 8. So if your XY is 8, then at least the X should be 6. If your X is 6, then at least the Y value should be 8. So in this way you can meet. So here you are looking here. So now sealing accuracy, at least age, there is no any benchmark of this one, but at least the people say that at least there should be the 95%. That means that more than 95%. How to calculate 95%? You're looking the points are there. This is our CE-FDH. This is our CR-FDH line, regression line. So now first point in the red circle, these are the red circle you have to put on the over this line, and then divide this one by the combination of all these data points are there. The data points which are in the red and the green. So all you have to divide, collect all these one and add all these one and divide the points which are red circle by the points which are in the red and green collectively. So if the value is more than 0.9%, 95%, then the sealing accuracy has been made. Then effect size are there. So just suggest that there are the four level of the effect size: 0 to 0.1. That means from 0 to 10% small effect, from the 10% to 30% medium effect, from 30% to 50% as a large effect, and from the 50% and above is a very large effect. This D shows this notation are the symbol of the effect size. And then the range of the effect size is from 0 to 1. Thus, in order to claim the condition is necessity, the condition should meet three principal criteria. Any condition which is necessary, so now it should meet the three conditions. Like we did, it was already I give example that if you want to get admission in the PhD program, the GR is necessary. So now the GR is our necessity. So now GR should meet the three conditions. First one is there should be theoretical justification. So now it's a subjective and qualitative. Through your literature, you have to justify either the any IV is a necessity, either that is necessity or not. So this thing you have to find out through the theoretical justification is complete purely it's a qualitative, and the two others these are the quantitative. So now the effect size should be larger than 0. You are looking here, it should be larger than 0, at least 0.2, 0.2 like this one. And then the conditions should have the small p value 0.05 less than 0.05. If these two conditions, that means these three conditions have been made, then the same thing is your necessity. So NCA, the limitations are NCA is merely data analytical tool. Okay, and now for what purpose? To calculate the sealing line CE-FDH and CR-FDH, and to calculate the effect size in relevant quantities. Okay, this is the job of the NCA. NCA does not consider about the sampling error or confidence interval. Furthermore, NCA does not measure the fuzziness, complexes are there in necessary conditions. Just what? It does not consider all these ones. Fuzziness are the complexities which are in the necessary condition. Just only in telling that the researchers should not blindly rely on the NC output. NC output is there, but you should not blindly rely on the NC output, but along with you can also think about the relevance of theoretical assumptions, quality of the measurement, and research design overall. It is you should not solely depend on NC, but along with this one, certain other, because NC is a complementing tool. It help you, and hence, according to the Dell, NCA is an addition to the researcher toolbox. So now we have the soft toolbox. So in this one, different type of the soft tools are there. NCA is like a one tool which you can apply. So now here you're looking that we have the two type of the construct, reflective and the formative. By the way, my video is available on my YouTube channel where you can, if you look, if you watch this one, you would be able to clearly distinguish between the reflective and formative. So now, so PLS same results and the NCA results. So now if your construct is a reflective, then you have to only take the latent variable score only. And if your formative is exogenous, then is a independent variable, then you have also, along with the taking the latent variable score, you have also to take the original indicator score. And if it's a formative endogenous like the dependent variable, then only use a latent variable score. So now step-by-step guide. So first step is specify the research objective theoretical. You have to specify and then outline hypothesis and sufficiently necessary logic. You have to do all these things. Next step is about the preparing and check the data. Sample size you have to check, distribution you have to check, outliers, and the measurement model you have to check all these one. Step number 3, run SmartPLS-SEM analysis, and you can find out the latent variable score and structural model relationships and their significance. You have to take all these. Step 4, you have to consider the measurement model. There are the two types of measurement model: reflective and the formative. In reflective, what we have to evaluate, we have to loadings, cron bar alpha, composed reliability, cron bar alpha, and HT-MT heterotrade monotrade. In case of the formative construct, we have to consider the redundancy analysis, various inflection factor, and significant relevance of the indicator weight. So these are some of the important things which are involved in the measurement model. So we have to take that. So overall, we have to say there should not be any problem in the measurement. So okay, in the step number 5, we have to transfer the latent variable score from PLS-SEM to R software. But in the SmartPLS-4 provides you one opportunity that you can also perform the NCA in the SmartPLS-4. So for this purpose, just you have to find out this option and then click it. A drop down menu will appear like this one. Here the 4 options are available here: regression analysis, logistic regression, and NCA, about which we are talking right now, and the NCA permutation. Now just open this one and provide all the options, and then you can calculate the NCA by applying this type of the option, and then NCA permutation. So now here you can check the probability of the effect size, either our effect size is significant or not. So this option is available in the SmartPLS-4. In the step number 6, we have to run NCA. In order to run the NCA, R in the package NCA. So now here we have to write down here the SmartPLS NCA. So where we can default setting are the 1000 permutations, and then you can analyze the hypothesis relationship between the dependent and all other independent variables. So here there are the 3 scenarios are there: the PLS-SEM results, and the NCA result, and the conclusion. In the first scenario, exogenous construct is there. Exogenous means our independent variable. If it is significant, that means that the PLS result shows that this exogenous construct is significant, as well as a necessary condition has been indicted in the NC result. So now on average, we can say that the increase in the exogenous construct, that means the increase in the independent variable, will increase the outcome. So however, certain limit of the exogenous construct is necessary for outcome to manifest. So now certain level up. Now that level we can find out through the bottleneck table. So in this, if the first scenario falls, if the first scenario is applicable, then in this one we have to check out the NCA bottleneck. Now second scenario is there. Let me say PLS-SEM is determined significant, but the condition is not necessary condition in this regard. So we have to, on average, an increase exogenous construct will increase the outcome, same thing data, but no minimum level of the construct is needed to ensure the outcome will manifest. Because in this regard, the bottleneck table is not available. This is not applicable. The third scenario is our that our exogenous is non-significant determinant, and but the condition is necessary in this level. The certain level of the exogenous construct is necessary for outcome to manifest. However, further increase is not recommended, as it will not increase the outcome any. So up to some level, that if you increase that means that the independent variable, then it will also increase your dependent variable, but up to the certain level. Beyond this level, even if you increase, so now nothing will be increased on the base on the part of the your dependent variable. So in this regard, so now we have to check the bottleneck table in the third scenario. So in the first scenario, in the second scenario, we have to check out the bottleneck, while in the second scenario, we do not require to check any bottleneck. So here, so bottleneck in adoption intention like that is intermittent skills are there. For example, if you want to increase up to 10%, then it will interpret your emotional value is not necessary. In it means that not necessary. Ease of use is 10%, and then PC value is 9%, while the compatibility is not required. So now if you want to increase the interpretability skill up to the 80%, then the 49% of the emotional value, 20% of the ease of use, 15% of the PC usefulness, and 32% of the compatibility is necessary to increase. While in case of the interpretability skill, like 100%, if you want to increase to the 49.6, and then 20 and 50 in the. So now if you want to increase up to the from the 80 to 100, you will find that the result is that means the values of the remaining three like the ease of use, receive usefulness, and compatibility all are same. Now NCA results. So now PLS algorithm is aimed at to path coefficient and predictive accuracy of the composite. So now what is the job of the PLS? That means algorithm, its job is to estimate the path coefficient, that means impact of the each independent variable on the dependent variable, and their predictive accuracy. While the bootstrapping is another option which is available in the SmartPLS, the job of this bootstrapping is to calculate either the particular path is significant statistically or empirically or not. Then another is a blindfolding procedure. In the blindfolding, estimate the predict relevance of the composite. It calculates the predict relevance of your values. Like the last tool is about finite mixture analysis. Now its job is to find out the potential heterogeneity among your different groups. So now these soft tools are available in the SmartPLS. Then, so here you're looking at the indicator means, standard deviation, loading, reliability, validity of the latent construct. So now here the 5 constructs are there, and these are the items. So now the first construct is interpretability skill, and it has the 4 items. So now n means number of observations, mean, and standard deviation, and these are loading value should be more than 0.078. So the loadings of all indicators you are looking, they are more than 0.078. So now, and then alpha, this alpha shows Cronbach alpha. It means that the our Cronbach alpha for the constant number 1 is the 0.87 and all. So the range of alpha is from the 0.7 to 0.9. So you're looking here, all our values are higher than the 0.7. So that means the reliability of each construct is also intact. Average variance extract that its value should be more than 0.5. So all you're looking, all the AB of all construct is also more than 0.5, and the HTMT heteroid monotrate, its value should be less than 0.85. So you are looking, that means all are well below than the 0.85. So here we can say that the measurement model, evolution of measurement model is according to our criteria. So now there is no any problem in the measurement model. So now another is about our model. In this model, we want to check the impact of all these on our dependent variable. So now a few things are very much important to consider, like that there should not be any multicollinearity, and variance inflation factor values should be less than 5, and the R square and Q square values should be according to the benchmark. So these are the benchmark. R square 0.37 and Q square is 8.18. And furthermore, now we're looking direct effect. Why? Because we are checking the direct effect of entrepreneur skill and all these independent variable on the dependent variable. So first is the independent skill and independent competence. Impact of the independent skill on independent competency is the beta is 0.37. Alternative we can call is a 37%. T value should be more than 1.96, and then this relationship would be significant. So, and the p value would be less than 0.05. So now both are there. So we can say that this relationship is significant. The relationship between the market, the impact of the market orientation on independent competence is not significant because its p value is more than 0.05 and t value is less than 1.96. Okay, on other things, it means that the impact beta is very it means a meager beta value is there. Network in on the independent competency, it's very good. Significant very substantial effect of the beta. Beta is 36% and the t value is more than 1.96 and the p value is less than 0.05. So now these two in green color are significant, and red color these are non-significant statistically. So according to the guidelines of the Richer et al. 2020, we use certain variable score of the IDVs and then to attribute an overall independent performance, and we obtain, and then we apply the NCA in the SmartPLS software. Early, the same NCA was being applied by the other researchers in the R, because what they were doing, they were importing the latent variable scores and then they were applying the same NCA in the R. But fortunately, the same option is available in the SmartPLS. That's why we are using the SmartPLS software over here. Okay, we use recommended ceiling envelopment disposable hull line, which is a non-decreasing step function, and generated the scatter plot between the predictor and the outcome. We already understood these two things. Here is one graph. This allowed us to separate the space containing observations and from the space not containing any observations. So you're looking here that this is a CR-FDH and this is the CE-FDH. So now CE-FDH basically is a line you're looking here. This yellow line, they say you are looking extreme values are being connected through this line. You are looking here, means the horizontal, then vertical, horizontal, and then vertical. So now here it is separating the values. And now here the value, and in this column there is no any value. So now it is like we can say that the CE-FDH is a line which is separating the that part of the graph where the values are available, and from that part of the graph where the values are not available, and then thus identifying the how much IV attributes constraint over our independent performance. So this is independent performance, and here in this IV is our independent skill. So now as there are the 4 IVs are there, so now you will find the 4 type of the charts are for individually, separately for every IDV. Then this ceiling line also indicates the minimum level of the particular independent skill that is required in order to obtain the certain level of the independent performance. So that is also being shown through this one. And then scatter plot is a ceiling regression free disposable hull, CR-FDH, which can be used when there are the many levels in the data, and when it can be considered continuous. So you are looking here, this continuous is there. So this is our line, and then here you will find another line that is about the OLS line, which is not available here, but already I showed you. That means that the line is also there, OLS line. So basically 3 lines are there: one CR-FDH, and the CE-FDH, and the OLS regression line. So now, we tested the effect size of the latent variable score and testing their statistical significance using the recommended sample size of the 10,000 permutations. So here we have to check either our effect size is significant or not. We apply the permutations with the 10,000 sample size. So now then what happened according to the Dulles and colleague, in order for condition to be considered necessary, that means any four IDVs. So now either IDV is a necessary condition or not. We have to decide based on these three criteria. The first one is our qualitative criteria. Through the theory will suggest us that either our particular, like the input skill, market orientations, network are settled. Even that can be a necessary, that can be necessity or not. And another thing is about the checking the effect size. How much is it? Either there is more than one, more than zero, or not. If the effect size is more than zero, it means that it has impact. So now the same one we can consider as a necessary condition. And another is of significance. That means applying the 10,000 permutation, then we have to check. Now this option will provide you some p values. If the value of any independent variable is less than 0.05, then it is also our necessity. So if the value is more than 0.05, that means the same value is not our necessity. So here we are looking at interval scale. I said the effect of the 0.06, that means more than zero, and its value is means it's significant. Okay, market orientation is also significant, but more importantly, we can call about the network, which is the highest impact. 32% impact. It is also significant. Says orientation has no impact, and on other side, it is also the non-significant. So now we can write the result in this way, especially networking D. So D, they means that there's the symbol of the effect size. So the networking 0.32, market orientation 0.04, and interval scale 0.06 are necessary for measuring interval performance. So whenever we measure the interval performance, so we have to consider these three, because these three are necessary things are there, showing that the borderline and the smaller effect of the respectively. So now this one has a very large effect, and this one is a like small effect on the dependent variable. Okay, which is statistically significant. So all these three are statistically significant, but generally, let me to say that the only except the like the, but generally let me to say that means network is the only means independent variable which is really a constraint, which is really a necessary things for the independent performance. So that means if you want to improve independent performance, you have also improved the network. And logically, if you say that the network is very important if you want to improve your independent performance. Then you are looking here network bottleneck CE-FDH percentiles are there. So these are the percentage one. So now, for example, if you want to improve 70% of your interval performance, then interval skill is not necessary, because it's not necessary. But market orientation 2%, and the network is at 2.34%. While in the case of the sales orientation, you're looking all are the zero, because it is a negative relaxation as well as it was also non-significant. So that's why it's not applicable. If you want to increase the 90%, then like the skill 4.69, and then market origin you require 7.55, and network you required 27.08. And then if you want to get the 100% entrepreneur performance, then you are required 44% from the entrepreneurial skills, 7.5 from the market orientation, and 27.8 from the network. So now these are the necessary conditions are there, which we already understood and discussed in the previous slides. So now, however, the sales orientation 0.9 did not meet the criteria for making the relevant necessary conditions. So criteria, so these three criteria are there. So now they are not meeting according to these three criteria. So that's why we call them as a they have no any contribution in the like the independent variable, or we can call them is a data showing randomness or being false positive. Okay, and hence they were disregarded as a relevant necessary condition. So especially says orientation, we do not regard as a relevant necessary condition. So let me to say that means that again the networking is really a necessary condition. As I already told you that do not only trust on the NC result, but use your own logical, use your theoretical reasons are there, and then you can decide. So apart from the NC, I'm also using certain other factors. So that's why, is my opinion, the network is the only necessary condition for the entrepreneur performance. In summary, we can say NCA shows the network is a significant necessary condition along with entrepreneurial skills and the market orientation. In order to report a high level of the impact of network on entrepreneurial performance, the respondent need to experience 32.1% satisfaction with the network. So if you now, from these two, one is very much necessary. How much the networking is important? We found that the level of network should be at least at 32.1%. This is the necessary independent performance quality attribute. So now we can say this means that the inadequate networking restrict the performance into performance. So if you are not putting much time, if you are not investing much time or resources in the networking, then what happens? That this will be a bottleneck. This will be a type of the issue with you in order to when you want to improve your entrepreneur performance. So these are some of the important research paper which I referred in order to prepare this lecture. So I suggest you, please go through all these because these are wonderful papers are there. Okay, so now especially frequently I was referring the joint Dell. So now this paper has been written by the joint Dell. Okay, thank you very much for watching this video lecture completely. I hope that this lecture has clarified different concept regarding the necessary condition analysis and sufficiency and bottleneck and then the necessity. So thank you very much for watching.